And we are live. Excellent. We are here with Elisa Ford, one of the new gamers that's coming with us to Lurking Fears for Origins. We are super, super excited to have her, along with all of our wonderful GMs. Um, Elisa, just wanted we've had a lot of playing time with each other here recently
We
due to
have.
the pandemic. We
Mhm.
and I've watched you as a GM. I know you're a super solid GM. I've watched the players interact with you at cons, so I know you know your stuff with us. So the question shouldn't be too jarring for you. I guess our first question we want to ask is how long have you been like running playing games? What's your experience? What's your resume?
So I started playing games back in 1997.
Okay.
Um, I'm one of those strange sandwich generation girls as far as RPGs go, where my very first RPG experiences were actually with World of Darkness. Later
Oh
on,
wow.
yeah. I actually got to sling that one at a developer's Q&A at Gen Con one time, and I think the poor gentleman nearly had a stroke when I
Yeah.
told him, yeah, no, my first games were World of Darkness. To what now? Um, so
I'm sure.
uh, I started GMing in 2005, and I ran my first game, which was Call of Cthulhu, in 2006 at Gen Con when it had moved to Indiana.
Okay. Awesome. Do you know
So
what?
ever since then, I've been GMing at Gen Con and Origins and a couple of places out here in the Pacific Northwest.
Excellent. Do you remember what scenario it was that you ran?
So it was one of my own design.
Oh, nice.
Uh, yeah. It is an adventure that has morphed over time. It started off as an adventure called Tomb of Feathers, where you and your other investigators are going into a burnt out crime scene to collect basically personal effects. You know, you were a friend, a colleague, you were owed money. There was property on, at the remnants of the house that you should get. In the case of the two relatives, they're mementos. And then hilarity ensues. But no,
As usual. Yeah.
that was entirely something I wrote.
Oh, okay, cool. That does sound interesting. I dig it. So it was a modern day one. I take it.
No, it's 1920s actually.
Oh, it was 20s. Oh,
It
okay.
was classic 1920s at the time.
All right.
Uh, and that was sixth ed for Call of Cthulhu.
Six ed. Yeah, yeah. Before it broke out with all the newfangled rules. The
Yes.
what's your feeling on seventh edition? Most people welcome it. A lot of people still have their hill of sixth ed that they're not moving from. What's your feeling about the seventh ed?
Personally, I like seventh ed. There are a lot of opportunities presented in the way that seventh ed rules are worked. Specifically, I like the idea of pushing roles, specifically failed roles.
Hmm.
Um, Back in sixth ed, if you screwed up, you screwed up. That's it. It's very black and white. And it didn't matter how talented you were or perhaps how familiar you were with certain aspects of it. You didn't get your percentile roll and you didn't. With push, I like the fact that you get that second chance, but there is that little raise in the stakes aspect of it where if you screw up that time, it's serious.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and I really
yeah.
appreciate that.
No, me too. Especially when Call of Cthulhu is such a can be such a clue hunt, and
Mhm.
you want to make sure that the investigators have all the information that they have, allowing them to push their roll, or if they're super talented, allow them a bonus die or something like that is great. Giving them that ability rather than you didn't find it, let's try to find another avenue to get to it. you
Pretty
know
much.
that works a lot better too. Yeah, I like that, and I like the degrees of success versus the old resistance table.
Yeah.
That was such a cumbersome chart. One page of
Yeah.
pain. you
I
know
get it. Some games live and breathe by their tables.
yeah,
Champions, for instance, is a great example of that, but
yeah.
not really my style as a GM.
No, no. I do dig the degrees of success. It just makes it pretty clear cut.
Very
I
much
got
so.
a regular success. Oh well, I got a hard success. I win. That's very cool. Makes it pretty cut and dry. So you've been playing since '97, and I think we were talking before. So it was Vampire that you were playing.
No, Mage.
Oh, Mage.
Yeah,
I
Mage the
love
Ascension.
Mage. I love Mage. That is actually my favorite out of World of Darkness
Mhm.
kind of stuff. Vampires. I mean, we played it one time, and it's like we're vampires, so cool. I mean, okay.
Vampire can be interesting depending on how the game is constructed, how the game runs, and what the ultimate objective as far as the GM sees.
Yeah.
But I liked Mage more for its sort of limitless,
Oh
you can do
yeah.
anything you want until you get caught. And then that's when the real fun starts.
Exactly. No, I dug it big time. I went full pulp into it. I made like a Buckaroo Banzai kind of character who had all these super sci-fi branded gadgets, that was made through magic, but he explained it through pseudoscience. He had like Doc Eon goggles that could allow him to see through all kinds of stuff.
So
You
a
know,
son of either?
exactly, totally a
Yes.
son of
Okay.
either. Yeah. We first started of doing like a Matrix kind of thing because Matrix was just big
Oh,
when we
yeah.
started getting into it, and when the whole technomancer kind of thing, we're like, oh, this is made. Matrix is made for technomancers, but it quickly devolved into Sons of Ether kind of a deal. So I dug it. It let me to get my Doc Savage side of me out, that whole pulp kind of aspect, and have that branded stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun. So yeah, Mage, and then you went. So what brought you to Call of Cthulhu? Did you read a lot of Lovecraft, or did someone point it to you, or did you find it yourself?
So I had friends who also GM'd Call of Cthulhu at the time. So as my circle expanded, I got to do a couple of one-shots with buddies of mine just around the regular gaming table as we were kind of switching up who was GMing what. I was still primarily a player at the time, as I was pretty new to it all. And that's when I played my first Call of Cthulhu. I really liked it. I had read Weird Horror, in my college days,
Yeah,
and it basically stuck with me. Both the classics and some of the newer, more up and coming authors, and I really liked it. I liked the aspects of cosmic horror, where yes, it's the idea of a vast, uncaring universe, and you're just a small piece of it. It's getting
yeah,
super weird in your small piece of it. Try to cope. Um,
yeah, 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 yeah. A lot of the one shots, they never get a big chance to touch on it, but yeah, it really takes, I think, like a major campaign for them to really hit on the, oh man,
oh,
the whole
absolutely.
hopelessness of it. They see and in one shot they see something weird, and they either make it through it or they don't. It's like it's some kind of, it could be explained away as some kind of phenomena, but uh, a campaign when they're constantly being bombarded with that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's a completely different story. Very, very,
Absolutely.
yeah. So have you got to run many? I mean, I think I feel like I've monopolized your time almost with playing online. Have you got to run much online?
Oh, very much so.
Good deal.
Um, the adventure that I'm bringing to Origins actually ran online for Gen Con Online. Um,
Okay.
and it's called the Skyland Incident. And the investigators are basically going to a very large and well-known amusement park to figure out what is going on and why it seems like every couple of years somebody dies there. Um, so uh, I got to run that last year. I also got to run a Cthulhu-esque live-action role-playing game, which was intended not only to be played in person, but played in a pool over Zoom. And that one is called Tarnish.
Nice.
It is set in the late 19th century. You are slowly drowning to death in a silver mine, It has caved in
Wow.
and is filling with water. Whether you get out or not is up to the decisions you make, and they're not pretty ones.
Oh wow. Yeah. That sounds very cool. I can dig that as a LARP. That sets the tone right away. It's everything's grim. That is really I dig that a lot. So yeah, the Skyland incident, yeah, that's definitely on the board with us for the origins. I'm
Mhm.
looking forward to seeing players involved with that. Is that kind of like since they're investigating like a park without, I guess, without giving like too many spoilers, is it like a Ghostbusters kind of a deal? Are they paranormal investigators or something or?
Quite no, actually. What they're investigating is gross negligence that they believe at the park
Oh,
is at the
okay.
park, because every one of the investigators lost someone, a wife, a daughter, a really good friend.
Oh, so it's personal. Okay.
Yes, very much so.
First
Yeah.
I thought it was like OSHA's moving in, but no, it's personal. Okay.
No, each one of the investigators lost a loved one at the park. They died. Um, And the park does what it usually does, which is it engages a PR team. Usually there's a very pat explanation. For instance, they shouldn't have been swimming in that lake. There are alligators. They shouldn't have been, we don't
Yeah.
know what happened to them. But we found them next to some electrical wiring, so that must have been it. They were in a place they should never have been. This is terrible. It's a tragedy. We're super sorry. But again, if they had just stayed where they were supposed to be, this wouldn't have happened. But here's a lot of money. Let's not go to court about it. And
Oh
typically
wow.
people could typically shut up. However, most of the investigators believe there's something more than just faulty wiring, or perhaps, poorly defined, like, out of, you know, no, behind the scenes boundaries and stuff like that going on. And they want to find evidence that the park is taking risks with not only the patrons' health and safety, but employee health and safety as well.
Cool. Cool. I like it. It's a very, very good premise. And I like the personal aspect of it too, so that they got their characters have a vested interest at the jump from the game. That's really, really good. I like
Yeah,
that.
it's
Yeah.
set on an evening for them to sort of come in undercover because there's a friends and family night going on that's only open to
Mm.
employees. They managed to get tickets for this. There's lots of drinking, lots of darkness, all kinds of
Yeah.
fun stuff. What could go wrong with that?
Maybe some lax stuff going on because it is supposed to be friends and family. Yeah. I see
Yeah,
it.
there's no way
Yeah.
those right operators are dipping into the punch. There's no way.
No, no, no,
Mhm.
no. Oh wow, I could dig that a lot. Yeah, there's a bunch of good ones that are centered around carnivals, and I don't know if it's like the excitement of that, or or like a theme park. Yeah, the excitement of it, and then a little bit of scariness too. Some of the rides are not. Yeah, you're like you get on, you're like, are we okay? you
Well,
know.
some of it is part of the sort of playing with shadows aspect of it. Carnivals,
Yeah,
amusement parks, this sort of thing are supposed to be places where you can bring your family. They're supposed to be happy. You're supposed to have a good time. It's supposed to be somewhat wholesome, but at the same time, there's this. Depending on which ones you're going to, I don't know about y'all, but in
yeah,
my neck of the woods, a lot of the kernels that come in are starting to sort of peel around the edges a little bit,
yeah.
showing a little bit of rot, a little bit of decay, a little
Hmm.
something that wears
Yeah.
into that squeaky clean image that makes you feel like corruption is kind of creeping in. From that, I think springs a lot of that horror, is because this is a family oriented place, last place you would think of something going wrong, and of course something goes wrong.
Of course.
And the people who are you raising the stakes regarding? Well, families and kids.
Yeah. I dig it. It sounds like it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to seeing people play that game. Very cool. So we talked about the game. What would players expect from any like game that you would run? What kind of GM are you? I guess is what I want to say.
Well, I certainly don't run diceless games, but I do emphasize role playing. I'm the kind of GM who will, whip out the voices. I will, lean in close and say creepy things. I like it when my table engages and plays along and reads their character sheet and goes, oh, okay, I understand my shtick, and plays it out. I feel like that makes for a much more engaging game. And I find if I can get that kind of energy going at the table, I can make for a better game. So sign up for one of my games. Come ready to role play.
Yeah.
I guess the other thing I can say is I tend to rely more on suspense than actual jump scares or gore.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say those don't happen, but they don't. They are more like seasoning.
Yeah.
Less the main ingredient.
Yeah, I think you and I have a similar mindset on that. I'm more of the thriller suspense sort of GM. I'm a firm believer in what Hitchcock said. It's like, your imagination's going to dream up something better than I can describe, or show a picture of rather. So a lot of fade to black as you hear bone snapping and crunching. It definitely sets that edge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. And I'm a big fan of that because honestly, the players, what they can think up is honestly far worse than anything I can create.
Exactly.
I ran a game that was loosely based on a New Age retreat that I have visited exactly once. And there are some infected individuals, shall we say. The Sean, several of the New Age attendees to this conference have been infected by Sean, and they're acting like it. And they're very new. So one of the players decides to go out on their own, and there's just a woman who has doffed a lot of her garments, and she's just dancing. This poor player is like, ma'am, let's get some clothes on you, ma'am. And she comes running up to him, to give him a great big hug, and he's like, all right. And I was like, and she leans into your ear really close.
Oh no!
And as I'm saying this, he's like, oh no, oh god, oh. And I just pause it so we can just live in that reaction for a while. He's like, I'm gonna regret this, aren't I?
Yeah.
She takes a big bite out of your ear, and I was like,
oh
yeah, she leaned at you. Smell delicious. Ha,
Oh wow.
Well, it is a Sean. I mean, nothing like a little cannibalism between you and the meaningless human meat sacks that are capering about this sad excuse.
Yeah. I love the Sean. They're one of my more favorite diabolical creatures, man. I mean, when I want something like you're truly screwed. Yeah, the Sean definitely play a factor in it because usually, especially if there's someone that you care about, it's like, well, that's already too late. If you're trying to save someone,
right.
Save yourself. That's about the best you can do.
Oh, absolutely.
Run really fast. Yeah. A lot of people try to find some way to save them or something, especially people who don't really know the Sean, and they're like, oh, we can do. Surely there's something we can.
Yeah. I mean, there are pieces in Delta Green that talk about extracting Sean. I don't know if everyone recalls how low the survivability on the procedure is.
I remember the picture of the drill press, and I'm like, yeah, that's yeah. I remember that picture vividly from the Delta Green game.
It certainly leaves an impression, that's for sure. You've also got, usually the people who are aware of the Sean are in the minority because Sean have taken over, if we're going by Delta Green canon, Pisces.
Yeah.
So there are entire governments that are like, well, yes, we're aware of the Eldritch element out there, but I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, yeah,
we don't know what you're talking about. That sounds like crazy talk. Our intelligence says otherwise.
I mean, if you're aware of them, chances are you're one of them. It's like it's a whole body snatcher kind of a thing. It really is. I love that part of it. It's so devious and diabolical. It's like yeah, they look fine until they start not acting fine.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then it's usually too late when they're torturing their alleged friends, they're drinking blood, they're basically calling you filthy warm-blooded meat sacks, that kind of thing. It's just like, oh,
Time. Oh, look, I got a thing.
yeah,
Time to go. Time to go.
I
All right.
quit.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
quit. I'm gonna go rogue. I mean, that's the time-honored Delta Green tradition. Anyhow, is that you're only in the
Exactly.
service until you go rogue or you die.
Exactly. Exactly. No, I love that aspect of it. If you weren't a good agent unless you had at least 10 gallons of gas in the trunk of your car. You just didn't know what you were doing.
Exactly.
You know? um, so yeah, I think that's about all the questions we wanted to touch on. Is there anything else that you wanted to tell the players or anybody that might be coming to check us out at Origins? Anything you had in mind?
Other than can't wait to see folks face to face, looking forward to a safely opening convention. Missing Columbus, Ohio, and all the wonderful gamers and the good Cthulhu vibes that I always get when I go to Origins. That's about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I cannot wait to get the gaming thing going again in person. I mean, I've learned to adapt with the online gaming, of course, but yeah, I am. I think I told Gail at the beginning of our last video, our last interview is like, if Origins doesn't go, I think I'm just going to give up on life. I think it's just that bad. I was like I really need an Origins to happen this year. It's like, yeah, I miss it. I miss the whole aspect of it. And by far, I mean, Gen Con's great for Gen Con if you want to go full Disneyland. But Origins still has it for me, more over Gen Con. I don't know how you feel about that. Maybe it's vice versa.
Con is very much my busy con. I GM for two separate groups, so I'm running games back to back. And a lot of what I do at Gen Con is just seeing people in between running games. Games. And it tends to be a bit breakneck for me.
Oh,
But
wow.
that's fine. That is my convention at Gen Con. At Origins, I'm a little more relaxed. I tend to have less obligations, more schedule. It's easier for me to get into games with generic tickets.
Yeah.
I'll usually do things like I'll wake up at 8 a.m. and go see if Settlers of Catan has an opening, because usually someone sleeps in, and I'm more likely to get that out of Origins rather than Gen Con.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah.
And on the other hand, there's also the fact that there's really good food in North Market nearby.
There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all.
Yeah.
I go there every day and get something different every day, and it's always awesome.
Hand on heart. I live in a place that prides itself on its ice cream, but Jenny's Splendid Ice Cream is where it's at for me.
Yeah. Good stuff. I like the Polish deli is really good. I love Momo's, the dumplings. Oh, those are so good. James, James that plays in our Traveler game, he went to the last Origins, and I got him hooked on the dumplings. And that's like the first thing he said this year is like, "We're going to Momo's, right?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah,
nice.
we're going to Momo's." Like day one, we're going to Momo's.
That's awesome.
Got to make that trip. Oh yeah. Well, that's about all we had to have. I do appreciate you talking with us and getting the players a chance to know you a little better. So when they see your game on the schedule, they'll go, "Oh, that's that person," and sign up and have a great time, because she is an amazing GM. I've played with her and I've seen her run games, and everybody is always at attention and having the best time, laughing and cutting it up. So it's going to be a good time.
Thank you.
Oh, you're quite welcome. All right. Well, we will close it out for today. And I think our next interview will probably be with Ram, another one of my great friends. So we will see you all next time.
Take care, guys.